what they approved. And by the way, their search committee meetings are all open to the public. They have a timeline where they've put out a search now. They are taking applications even as we speak. They put an ad in the Chronicle of Higher Education, and then in another publication that deals with, I think it's AAC. They're going to close that sometime in May, and they hope to make a decision by June. That's their.
So that's the protocol that they used before for the previous president.
No, not at all. No,
okay.
Very different. They decided not to use a headhunting firm in any way, manner, shape. That was going to be, depending on the figures, around the $200,000 endeavor. They chose not to do that. They may delay the appointment until August or September because they are concerned the faculty are going to be away at least the 9-month instructional for the summer. And they want to have a period, they discussed this publicly, where the faculty could interact with the candidate. They're going back and forth with the problem of, do we show the candidates before the selection or after? Because there are individuals who would not allow themselves to be identified unless they knew they were going to get the
Is there any kind of priority or thought being given to picking someone from within the faculty, the existing faculty, like we spoke of earlier, as is still done at many universities and was done?
The criteria are that they're using as selection. It's all laid out. It's all public.
So
you can go on the board website and see it. It has a heavy emphasis on, for want of a better word, local knowledge. But it also has it makes a point that they're hiring the president of a system. They're not hiring the chancellor of Manoa. So they have de-emphasized the academic background of the individual because they define, or redefining at least, I think they are in their mind, the role of the president. That it's not purely an academic leader, that you shift that to the responsibility of the chancellor for that aspect. But this is more of a ministerial aspect where it's talking about balancing resources. In other words, the system isn't making the decisions per se about the academic infrastructure, but rather balancing resource distribution throughout the 10 campuses.
So maybe more like a CEO.
Yeah, that's at least the talk that went on.
Is Lasner in the race in your opinion?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But, David Lasner, to his credit, said removal of the term interim in front of the title of president in the University of Hawaii system makes very little difference in the tenure of the person holding the job. So he also said that not having interim would make a big difference as far as what he was doing. He is not a willing, let me rephrase it. He's not seeking the job, but he would take it if they came to him and said, take away the word interim, and 2 years, whatever, 3 years, then I'll go forward. In a sense, you already have had that with David McLean, who was a faculty member of the College of Business to begin with, became the dean of the College of Business, was then appointed vice president under Bill Bell, then became, when Bell left, he became president of the university. But he went back, and there was a lot of effort on the part of the regents to keep David McLean as president of the system. He said, no, I'm not going to, and he is currently now a faculty member in the College of Business. So David, I have some disagreements with David about various policies, but he was absolutely true to his word about going into that role and then coming back out.
Maybe the last one we ever see do that.
Willing.
Yeah. Or now they all end up at the med school.
Well, you know why they do? Because the only med school salaries, and by the way, not the PhDs in the med school, but clinical faculty, are high enough for the fallback salaries that they negotiate. That's true for Tom Apple. Tom Apple's fallback position is the medical school, not the chemistry department. No. Yeah, and again, because
But the way it's worded is that if you fall back, you take the salary of the highest paid full professor in the unit that you go to. Well, nobody wants to go to the chemistry department because you're going to get paid a third what you'd be paid at the medical school. So that's why.
But that's, that to me is so.
Yeah, it's so lame.
It's worse than lame. It's
that's a
such a
BOR responsibility
distortion.
to not.
This tenure is in my department that I'm adjunct to, which is anatomy, biochemistry, and physiology. And yes, at one time, Con Apple was a good chemist, but he has absolutely zero to offer our department.
Well, in
Nothing.
the same way as Marcy Greenwood has zero to offer the medical school. I mean, it's just a distortion of what our institution has been historically and what I believe it should be.
That whole high three thing and then giving your buddy a job for the last few years, that's criminal practice.
So you know where the problem lies, and I was going to talk to that a little bit earlier, but I didn't. So Board of Regents has their policy, right? So that's more on the level of theoretical and pushing in a certain direction or not, right?
Big pictures.
And then administration has what's called executive policies. And so that's where they start to codify all these things and do really operational kind of things. One of the things they did there was tenure. So I was a faculty senate chair at that time, and they came to the all-campus council and they said, oh, well, we got this idea. And the idea is in order to recruit all these really good faculty with lots of grant money and everything, we could offer them instant tenure. We're like, what a great idea. Because if they can get tenure at that place, they'd certainly be able to get tenure over here. We had no idea that they were talking about also using that for administrators. So that was really snuck under the door that way. That
So
was
the
really,
policy applied not just to recruiting faculty, but to
Right.
recruiting administrators as well.
When we hired a dean in the last 5 years, my department had the opportunity to review the vita and say whether or not the department was willing to accept her after the executive position was gone. That doesn't happen with these
It doesn't happen
system
in other
level.
departments.
no,
Bob can speak to that one.
no, that certainly doesn't.
And we said yes. So, there are circumstances where,
But what if you had said no?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking,
Yeah.
where
Because
did
in some
that policy
cases, the
originate?
faculty has said no,
Yeah.
and they will bring the faculty.
And sometimes they just keep on asking. We had a situation like that recently. What the other thing that happens is they bring in somebody. Now they need to hire the wife or the spouse, whoever, okay, and they gotta put them somewhere. And so they kind of farm them out to a different, maybe he or she fits here, or maybe, and it's, no, we don't want him. No, you have to take him.
Because it's good for the children, that's why.
The other example would have been Gary Ostrander came in here with a fallback position at PBRC. When he decided to destroy PBRC, he moved his fallback position to the Cancer Center. So,
They're not stupid people, are they?
and I was at the Cancer Center. We didn't even know his fallback position was at the Cancer Center.
Surprised when he showed up one day.
Well, he would have.
He left,
He had to
yeah.
go
That's
down.
what they're lacking.
So no, it's a very secret process that many times at that level. I mean, usually a dean, if you're going to hire a dean, you probably wouldn't hire somebody. Well, if you had any choice in the matter, you wouldn't hire somebody that you wouldn't accept as a faculty member. But what happened to the Cancer Center, and this was a change from tradition. Traditionally, when we hired directors, we ran the search ourselves. We were intimately involved. Well, the current director at the Cancer Center was chosen over the objection of the faculty, the strenuous objection of the faculty, and public objection. So he was imposed, and we're seeing the results of that now.
By the chancellor.
Yeah, the chancellor. She,
Ultimately,
yeah. I mean, the chancellor rigged the search process, first of all. Picked the search committee, selected them. When it looked like the search committee wasn't going to go along with her, she then came in and thanked them for their service and basically never got a recommendation.
What is this, your cousin, or what?
I don't know.
Could be. That would be interesting.
It's bizarre. Now she's his advisor. She paid $300,000 a year to advise him.
Nice scratch one's back.
No, it,
Jesus. We haven't got a hope.
the corruption.
Well, this feeds your cynicism.
Yeah, you guys have confirmed everything I was thinking already.
But,
I'll tell you an interesting, I've talked to Paul about this, but I have a friend who started off at HPD and then he went to FBI and got.
Are you going to give us their socio?
yeah.
I want to hear it. I haven't heard it. I haven't heard it.
He hasn't heard it, but he wants
Yes,
to
but
hear
he's
it.
Some
trying
of
to
us
give
have
an
heard it
opinion,
way
but he
too
doesn't
much.
Then he was
know.
Secret Service, right? So, we were talking about the Marcy Regan thing, and he was telling me, oh, well, that's just the whole thing about the sociopath. He told me to go look it up, and sure enough, that's exactly what it is. So if you really want to know how to deal with these people, you should at least know what a sociopath is, because that's probably what you're dealing with.
Someone with absolutely no conscience about what they do.
And they're very successful
Yeah.
at manipulating.
I think there may be some, but I don't agree with your assertion that all administrators
You didn't say
have
all.
said that.
I don't say all.
But we don't just have too many of them.
Yeah. You can only support one or two very expensive sociopaths at a time. You know what? 20, 30 of them.
And one is too many.
I think people like Evan Dobell would qualify.
Evan Dobell would qualify.
Oh, definitely.
Evan
I mean,
Dobell was
yeah.
a disaster, and we are suffering from him still to this day.
Maybe all people who seek power at some level.
I would agree with that.
No, it's so funny.
Amoral.
He came to Molokai one time and I spent half a day there. The guy was off the wall.
Yeah.
He was trying to get Ole Miss over here to play football. He was, I gotta call Ole Miss right now. You know, he's on the phone.
Seriously, it's just what you have to worry about.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of stuff he's worried about. I said, man, they didn't take care of anything regarding the university. Everything was, okay, football game over here. I don't know. Other one was like Jackson's concert. Janet Jackson. I mean, it was that kind of stuff that was really important to him.
Well, one thing I'll tell you that I've learned over the years is that when you're dealing with a sociopath, it's only having an organization like UHPA is our only protection against that. I think if you talk to any of the faculty at the Cancer Center, they could verify that for you. Because ultimately, you've got when these people get into these powerful positions, we as an individual faculty member don't have a lot in our arsenal, but UHPA really represents the one thing that they fear, and that puts faculty on at least something approaching an equal footing with the excesses of those administrators. And I think a lot of faculty unfortunately don't understand that. I didn't understand that coming in when I was younger. I thought, the world was made up of people that were. I mean, I didn't know what a sociopath was until I met Kelly Carbone.
Okay, we have two sociopaths.
Yeah, but
In his defense, he
There are
likes to play
several that are
ping-pong.
not quite
and he does.
They're trying.
But I didn't realize what you're up against in a situation like that. And as a faculty member, you don't think of UHPA as being that sort of protective organization.
I did.
When you're dealing with the mafia, you've got to have your own mafia.
Exactly.
I guess the other thing we forget is we're part of the state of Hawaii, and to a large extent, the state of Hawaii operates like this. When the governor
absolutely.
when the governor retires, what did he do with the governor's staff? They stick them in the university. Okay, the secretary, the administrative assistants, all come here, and some of them become vice presidents in charge of the budget.
Yeah.
Some of them become chancellors at universities.
Did you have any particular concerns, or
Did he
maybe
scare
you
you
just
off
wanted to
already?
listen?
No, I'm just interested in listening what's going on.
I'm scared.
But, I think they'll do this if we let them do this, okay? So this whole thing about empowerment, anytime when I hear administration say, oh, we're gonna do this, I say, no, you're not gonna do that. We're gonna take care of that. And so we gotta take control of the things that we wanna have control of. I mean, this whole thing about rules, I wouldn't ask any administrators how I should do it. Come up with your own models that you think is fair, that works, that impacts on the students, and run with it.
But I don't, no, if we do this with this learning outcomes assessment, shove it to the faculty, say it's faculty driven, let faculty take ownership. They were just giving us a shovel to dig our graves with, and now half of our work life is collecting student learning outcomes data. And then writing reports on how we have or have not met the arbitrary benchmarks that have been given us for student.
Yeah, but that's driven by the accreditors.
Well, it's good.
I don't remember.
Or willing accomplices.
When that
Yeah.
first came to KCC, there was a group of administrators who sat down and just started writing the SLOs for us. Then they were going to come along and tell us, oh, now you have to do this. Now you have to assess this stuff. Because they were simply responding to what the accreditation was requiring. And they're scared of them. So they were really running scared.
And they throw their fear back on us.
Exactly.
And we have to resist that.
Do we have any strategies for how we can make the faculty, empower the faculty more versus all these supports the administrative?
Partly it's people knowing the contract, finding, oh, I don't have to do that, or